What's on, ladies and gentlemen? My name's Ross, I like games, and today we've got some redonkulous new prize cards for the One Piece TCG that have gone and been shown off that we need to be having a little bit of a chat about. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to have a little bit of a chat about it. These are coming around in tournaments in Japan in the not too distant future, and it starts off in top 32 with what is honestly probably the best of them. It's Rebecca. Now, I like Rebecca. It's one of the coolest characters in One Piece. If you've not read the Dressrosa arc, I would highly recommend you go and do so, and then you'll know exactly what I mean when I call her one of the coolest characters in One Piece. She's awesome. But there is a top 32 prize card which is coming here, and it is stunning artwork, running around, picking sunflowers, doing all of that. And it is the OP05 Rebecca, which if you don't know by now, and you should, but if you don't know by now, one of the best cards in the game. Like, legitimately, this is one of the actual, like, top tier cards in the entire game. This is a ridiculously good card. Now, it is 4 costs with no power, which is less than ideal. But then you've also got blocker. And look, I'm not saying this is a good blocker. Obviously, this is a terrible blocker. Having no power makes you a terrible blocker. But the whole point is, as a blocker, you're not really out here trying to just fend off every single attack and survive. It is I will give up this character to fend off a single attack, which is honestly a decent trade. You hope it's not all you do here, but that alone is decent. But then we've got on play, you can go and grab yourselves a character card with a cost of between 3 and 7 that is black, other than Rebecca, put it in your hand, but then play a black character card of a cost of 3 or less from your hand rested. It is a redonkulous card. It has seen a huge amount of play. We basically seen like a big combo with this, Rob Lucci and Hina, whereby Rob Lucci will KO lower power characters, but of course can't be played for free by Rebecca. But that's all right, because we've got starter deck Hina, which can be played for free with Rebecca and gives -4 cost, which means that Rob Lucci that KOs a 2 cost and a 1 cost is actually, potentially a 6 cost and a 1 cost, for instance. So yeah, that's a combo we've all seen a lot. This card is amazing. Now, of course, there was an alternate art that came around in OP05 as well, which I don't like as much as a regular. It's not one of my favourite alternate arts, but it's cool. And then there was a special rare that came around one set later in OP06. Now we've got this version, and they're all cool versions of the card, don't get me wrong. I think this might be the coolest one yet. Certainly going to end up being the most expensive. It is a prize card. It's only given out to top 32 at the championships and all of that. But this is awesome, and I think we can all agree it's a very, very cool card. Remember, we are going to get these cards. Like, it's going to happen. Just depends on exactly when. But they're going to be tournament prizes for us like they are over in Japan. When we know, I will, of course, share it with you. That's what I do. If you go one step further and get yourself to top 16, there is a Shirahoshi. Again, no power. They're not going for powerful cards here. They're going for cool cards, good cards, but not powerful cards. The last one has 1,000 power, but the 3 cards between them have 1,000 power. That is not the point of these cards. But it is Shirahoshi, and this is a great Shirahoshi. Like, in the same way that we've seen a lot of play from the Rebecca, we've also seen a lot of play from this Shirahoshi. We're not talking about some kind of fringe card that comes around here and there. We are talking about a proper top tier card. Now, it is 5 cost 0 power, which is a bit sad. We've got counter plus 1,000, which is a nice little bonus sometimes. But what we've got here is an on-play skill whereby you draw free trash too. You only end up +1 card, but you get to see a bunch more cards. Here, it's not just about the fact that you get 1 card extra in your hand. It is about the fact that you end up seeing free extra cards, and seeing free extra cards is a very, very good thing. It means you're more likely to be able to get exactly what you need and that's awesome. But wait, there's more, because we've also got the trigger, and the trigger means that you can play this card. No mucking about, just play it as a trigger. And generally, playing a card as a trigger is good, don't get me wrong, but here it is especially good because you get to draw free trash too. Now, for what it's worth, being on your board here as a body, it's not doing very much, okay? Because it's got no power, doesn't have blocker or any of that. Rebecca's nice because you got blocker. This is a card where you play it, draw free, trash 2, and that's basically it. At that point, the card has outlived its usefulness. But the fact that you can play it for free and use it as a draw engine, and of course it's in yellow, and yellow you get lots of recovery, lots of opportunities to essentially stack cards on top of your deck so they're more likely to come out as a trigger. Yeah, this is pretty gosh darn good. And I adore the artwork here with the very happy looking shark. Way better than the original art. So this is awesome. But let's say you get one step further again. You get all the way to top 8. Well, at that point, you get this Nefeltari Vivi, which is, again, just a ridiculous card. I tend to cast when I go to bigger tournaments, so my chance of winning one of these is incredibly slim, which makes me sad, because Nefeltari Vivi is also an extremely cool character. If you've not read the Alabaster arc, might I suggest you go and read that as well. Frankly, very cool arc. And this is the one where one cost 1,000 power, counter plus 1,000. And if you've got 10 or more cards in your trash, this character gains blocker. I will say, this is not a card that we've seen hitting the board very much. It's not a card that we've seen seeing a huge amount of play. And I think there is a lot of potential here. This is a card I like very, very, very much indeed. But it only kicks in when you've got 10 cards or more in your trash. And that's kind of the problem here, is that it's a one-cost card, so you kind of want it down early. But if you get it early, like a vanilla card would be one cost 3,000 power, counter plus 1,000. So it's objectively significantly worse than a random vanilla card if it's played when you don't have 10 cards in the trash. And by the time you have got 10 cards in the trash, you see yourself with better options. Like, it's later in the game, you've got more Don to play with. So it ends up becoming a little bit awkward. It's a very cool card, but you don't know where it fits. I kind of like this in black Rob Lucci decks, because you trash 2 cards on the top of your deck every time you attack, and with the other tricks we've got in black, you end up getting to 10 cards in the trash a lot quicker. But we've got all this data from like limitlesstcg.com, and we can have a look, and it's just not being played. Like, it's just not seeing like any play whatsoever. And that's a little bit of a problem here, because again, it's best in the early game when it doesn't do anything, and by the time you get to the late game, it's overpowered by other cards to which you now have access. I understand all of this. I just like it. For what it's worth, in Rob Lucci decks, Rebecca obviously seeing a huge amount of play, because that card's ridiculous. Yeah. From a playability standpoint, Rebecca is ridiculous. Shirahoshi is ridiculous. And Vivi just sees, like, no play. At all. Sorry. Like, genuinely, yellow decks should be playing Shirahoshi the vast majority of the time. Black decks should be playing Rebecca the vast majority of the time. And Vivi just gets left out in the cold. Sorry about that. When I say yellow decks, I mean yellow decks, not like black, yellow, Luffy, which generally doesn't play Shirahoshi, because you need to find space for other stuff. Does it play Rebecca? Actually, no, unfortunately. But again, space, doing other things, I kind of get it. Also, remember, the whole point of black, yellow, Luffy is that you basically don't get trigger on a lot of your cards. So, yeah, that also kind of ruins anything with a trigger. Point is, these cards are good. And I got to mention, remember what the playmat is right now? The winner's playmat for regionals? It's these 3 characters. It's your Nefeltari Vivi, Shirahoshi, and Rebecca, with the background change so they all match. Regular artwork, of course, that we've seen in sets, But I kind of love that Bandai have just chosen those three as a trio right now. They've just gone, you know what? Let's put them on the playmat, and then we'll go ahead and make them the prize cards of these upcoming events. And I don't know, there's something about this which I find pretty cool. But I've told you about all of it now, so now it's over to you guys. Tell me what you think about these new prize cards. Are you delighted? Do you want them? Or are you just going to skip them? Let me know in the comment section. Go nuts! Be nice! And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at @TheWasi. That's where we talk about One Piece and a bunch of other card games. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all kinds of fun things. But by far the most important thing as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching Wasi Plays.